Coming up on Carolina Week, underage drinking is rampant on college campuses. UNC police are cracking down in new ways.
A new smartphone app might help you avoid the flu this year.
Find out how UNC classes are using business and philanthropy to make a wish come true. All that and more.
Carolina Week starts right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
Fake IDs, drinking and driving, these serious issues can get college students into a heap of trouble with the university and the law. Good evening, I'm Ben Smart.
And I'm CB Cotton. A former UNC student was driving drunk in July when he struck a vehicle on the wrong side of the road, killing 3 people. Monday, an Orange County jury officially indicted Chandler Kenya on all charges, including 3 counts of second-degree murder. He's also charged with obtaining alcohol with a false driver's license. He was just 20 years old. Troopers say when they pulled him over, he gave them someone else's ID, claiming he was 21. Kenya is just one of millions of students driving after drinking too much. Our Anik Joseph is live in the studio to explain what our state is doing to help change that. Anik?
Using a fake ID can be the rite of passage for some college students, even tradition. But new features added to the North Carolina state IDs and driver's license might make it tough for those trying to break the law. UNC junior Sarah Shaw is certain, despite the changes, people will find a way to beat the system.
I think as long as the drinking age is 21 and college students arrive on campus at 18, there will be underage drinking and there will be fake IDs.
Alan Fields from the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission says outsmarting the new design is almost impossible.
They're extremely difficult to counterfeit, alter, or tamper with.
Fields says changes to the IDs and driver's license is crucial.
It's important, especially as it relates to underage drinking.
The new cards have 7 new features. Teslin coding for durability, overlapping images, 1 color, 1 engraved. The date of birth is engraved too. A printed organ donor symbol and military designation is placed here and here, along with a laser perforated NC. The cards of people younger than 18 are in a vertical format. Carolina Coffee Shop's general manager, Jeremy Ferry, says the new design might make his job a little easier.
Well, based on the new ID, I think that the security measures taken will help us distinguish between the fake and the real.
You don't have to rush out and change your driver's license or identification card. They're valid until their expiration date. When you renew, you'll get the redesigned card. CB?
That's Anik Joseph live in our studio. Thanks, Anik.
Making IDs harder to fake is just one step in cracking down on underage drinking. The other step is to make sure businesses serving alcohol know how to spot those fake IDs. Kendra Douglas has more from Franklin Street.
Franklin Street is the center of Chapel Hill's dining and entertainment scene, and it's where Sup Dogs has seen its share of underage drinkers. General Manager Lindsay Ewing says finding fake IDs can be difficult for restaurants like hers.
And it's definitely always something that you have to be on top of. Definitely as a manager of a restaurant, you have to be on top of everything at all times.
This summer, 2 businesses, He's Not Here and Law residents, served 20-year-old Chandler Kenya alcohol. Kenya used the fake ID to consume alcohol before he drove his Jeep Wrangler into oncoming highway traffic, killing 3 people. Ewing says the Kenya case has highlighted the importance of cracking down on fake IDs.
Because we've had people use something that is clearly not even them, not even the same eye color, hair color, we will take it from them.
Chapel Hill Police Chief Chris Blue and his department offer training to bar workers to make sure they know how to spot fake IDs and deal with underage drinkers.
What we want to do is have people minimize high-risk drinking behaviors and understand the risks associated with really overuse.
Blue showed us the results of last year's undercover operation that tested bars in town. It showed a 60 to 70% failure rate.
Now, think about that. That's a significant majority of the time an underage person was able to purchase.
And this year's results showed a 20% failure rate, a dramatic drop Blue is pleased with.
And I think those results speak for themselves.
Ewing says her restaurant is doing its part.
We are pretty strict just because it is a college town. We know a lot of people do a lot of things to get away from it.
Lessons on spotting IDs are now a regular part of staff training. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kendra Douglas reporting.
Chief Blue says his team uses minors who use their real IDs to try and get into bars near Franklin Street. The goal to see if they can actually purchase alcohol.
The university is helping students prepare for flu season. Across campus, students can visit vaccine stations, offering walks-in vaccines until November 11th. The clinic locations are listed online.
Some students are already protecting themselves with flu shots, but Mackenzie Bennett tells us researchers have found another way to keep the flu from spreading: a smartphone app.
It's called iEpi, and it's used to track the spread of the flu on college campuses. Researchers tested the app on 100 college students at the University of Michigan during the 2013 flu season. It tracks
who you've been interacting with and the symptoms that they've been experiencing to predict who is likely to have or come down with the flu in the near future.
But here's the catch. The app can record interactions only between people who have the app on their phones.
If my cell phone that's running the iEpi app comes in close proximity with your cell phone that's also running the iEpi app, that's how we know we can figure out whether or not we've come in contact.
If I had the app on my phone, a survey would pop up and ask me about my contact with other people. It might ask if I was in the same room as that person or if I touched that person.
Researchers say if a student got sick, that student's friends were more likely to get sick too. Understanding how the flu spreads can help researchers come up with improved preventative measures. Heller says the app could be used in the future to track the spread of other contagious diseases. In Chapel Hill, I'm Mackenzie Bennett reporting.
Researchers also found their recovery was longer for college students who smoke or drink.
Chapel Hill mayoral elections are weeks away, but the race is already generating lots of buzz. Chapel Hill Mayor Mark Kleinschmidt is ahead in the 2015 mayoral race polls. The recent Chapel Borough poll says 37% of Chapel Hill voters plan to re-elect their current mayor, but this is the lowest pre-election lead he's had since 2009. His biggest competitor is Pam Heminger, who has 25% of the poll votes. Kleinschmidt said in a tweet that this election will be a tough one.
With presidential politics heating up, student activist groups are forming to garner support for their favorite candidates. Reporter Brett Thompson gives us some insight into the student behind one of these clubs.
Bernie Sanders has emerged as a surprise contender for the Democratic nomination, using what he calls a political revolution and savvy marketing to create a buzz about his name. On a campus level, the buzz about the burn emanates from UNC senior Nico House.
I guess that's kind of how Nico's been the whole time, is that he's so enthusiastic about Bernie Sanders, like unapologetically. He'll talk to strangers at rallies, he'll talk to people on Facebook, and just like wants to discuss Bernie Sanders.
House founded Carolina Students for Bernie, a student activist group looking to spread the word about Sanders and his message.
Bernie Sanders is the name, is the person that we're named after, but it's more so his ideals that we want to project onto the campus, and one of his biggest ideals is staying as involved in politics as humanly possible.
House recently gained attention after being featured in a New York Times article about a Sanders rally in South Carolina.
It was pretty surreal, considering that I'm from New York, and and the fact that my great-grandmother, apparently before she passed, New York Times was her favorite news source of all time. She loved it, and that's the fact that I was in that article, and it was an article about how Bernie Sanders is trying to combat racism and racial inequality. That was kind of what made it surreal to me.
While House is getting the attention, he understands that it's not a one-man effort.
I was here and I co-founded the club, and I started the club, and I may be the president, but literally I could not do anything without my team, and they know that. I tell them that literally every day.
As temperatures are starting to drop with autumn upon us, House is making sure everyone feels the burn. In Chapel Hill, I'm Brett Thompson reporting.
There have been rumors that Carolina Students for Bernie is in talks to bring Sanders to Chapel Hill, but the group doesn't yet have a date and location. After the break, find out how one UNC student swabbed up
and became the match for someone needing a life-saving transplant.
That's next.
UNC Student Stores is celebrating its 100th anniversary this week. But after 100 years of consistency, the store might be undergoing some major changes. The university-owned store might soon change hands to a private company. That has some people concerned. The potential buyer, Follett, already operates more than 1,000 student stores nationwide. But the transition could cause some current employees to lose their jobs. Under the proposed plan, Follett would pay the university $3 million annually, money that could be funneled into student scholarships. The final decision might not come until February.
Student stores' employees and students supporting them are fighting the ownership change. That sentiment echoed throughout Polk Place this afternoon. Protesters marched through campus demanding student stores stay under university ownership. They began in the pit, where protest leaders spoke to the crowd. After signing a letter to Chancellor Foltz, students and employees marched to South Building. Their main concern, losing scholarships funded by student stores' receipts.
Another change ahead for the student stores. A new pharmacy is slated to open in mid-November. Student stores pharmacy workers are waiting on permits before they can start restocking shelves. The pharmacy will give students another option for filling prescriptions besides visiting the Student Health Service on South Campus. Over-the-counter medications will also be available.
It's Cheek Week at UNC. UNC's Be the Match Foundation has been hosting swabbing drives all week, looking for matches to donate bone marrow. Rashida Cox shows us how one student swabbed at a drive last semester might have just saved someone's life.
Matt Wren didn't think having his cheek swabbed at a bone marrow drive would turn into this.
To get a call 2 months later, much less period, but especially with 2 months after I was typed, I had no idea. I never expected it.
It's a call Wren did not hesitate to answer.
Got the call and it was just kind of a no-brainer, you know, like I can help somebody out, so why not do it, you know?
This spring, Wren helped to host a bone marrow drive with UNC's Be the Match Foundation chapter. Being a bone marrow match to someone in need is rare. Only about 1 in 540 people get the call to donate.
Honestly, like everyone keeps saying, oh my gosh, like this is such a blessing, like you're a hero, like this is awesome. And I mean, I guess those things are true, but truthfully, like I would just hope that the tables were turned, someone would do it for me.
Wren says the procedure is painless. This machine filters out the platelets needed to donate from his blood and transfers the remaining blood back into his arm. Wren's transplant took almost 4 hours.
It never really occurred to me to say no, because I'm like, this is something that ultimately won't hurt me or cause me any long-term harm. It's free. It only costs like my time, and it's truly saving someone's life. So it was a no-brainer to me, really.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Rashida Cox reporting.
Wren says he thinks everyone should be on the bone marrow registry. It takes almost no time to have your cheek swabbed, and those few seconds could save a life.
The Carolina community values its First Amendment rights so much that it dedicates an entire day to them. UNC celebrated its 7th annual First Amendment Day on Tuesday with a series of panels made up of students, professors, and law experts. Students also read aloud sections from banned books such as Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone to As I Lay Dying. The day ended with a keynote speech from Danielle Keats-Citron, a law professor at the University of Maryland and author of Hate Crimes in Cyberspace. The UNC Center for Media Law and Policy organizes the event.
There's a break in the clouds for now, but how long will we enjoy this nice fall weather?
Drew Day has your forecast next.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Drew Day. It was another day of overcast skies and muggy conditions across North Carolina today. We did get a little bit of a break from the rain today, but that will end pretty soon here. We'll have some rain beginning to move in overnight tonight. We have a cold front that has already passed through Chapel Hill right now and is moving through Raleigh as we speak. So this cold front will bring us cooler conditions for the day tomorrow. So when you walk outside, temperatures will be in the 60s. So tomorrow will be much different than what we've seen across the area today, but the clouds and rain will continue. We have a trough in the eastern portions of the United States that will be strengthening in the coming days, as well as the development of an upper level low. And all of this will in a rack together with a front stalled offshore to produce the showers for the weekend. So we have a 100% chance of rain for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's not often we can say 100%, but it is going to be the case today based on the dynamics that we're seeing setting up right now. We could see several inches of rain here across North Carolina. This is just a short-term forecast for this evening. We'll see some showers beginning to develop this evening and continue throughout the overnight period, so that by the time we get to midnight, showers are well over North Carolina, and they continue right on through 2 a.m. They'll continue throughout the day on Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday as well. And as a result of all this precipitation, the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch for central and eastern North Carolina at least through Saturday afternoon. It may get extended beyond that for at least 3 to 5 inches of rain across North Carolina. So we could be dealing with some flooding potential. Be prepared to drive through flooded roads in many locations, and at least driving through rain on your way back and forth to work. The umbrella will be your best friend here for the next several days to keep you dry as you're walking back and forth to class. Now, I know you're also concerned about Joaquin. That's the latest hurricane that has developed in the Atlantic. It's currently sitting over the Bahamas, and it will move to the southwest in the coming days before it makes a northward turn. But really, I would love to cut the forecast track off right here, because past this point, it's really uncertain as to exactly what will happen. It could make landfall in the Carolinas or in the mid-Atlantic, or it could also curve and go back out eastward into the Atlantic. And so the uncertainty is high with this, so we don't want to get too specific at this point. We have hurricane hunters in there. We're launching extra weather balloons to help resolve this situation. But again, uncertainty is high, but you have to prepare for the potential that a major hurricane could make landfall in the Carolinas as we head into next week. So overnight tonight, temperatures will be in the lower 70s. It will be another warm evening, and it'll continue to be muggy with showers continuing. Temperatures will drop overnight, so by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, they'll be in the lower 60s and continue to fall throughout the day, with 60 by noon and 57 by 8 p.m. with showers throughout the day tomorrow. And as we take a look at the 5-day forecast, the cold air sticks around with 60s, so much different than what we've had the past several days, and then maybe dry out by the time we get to Monday. That all depends on what Joaquin does. So it's an interesting forecast. We'll just have to wait and see.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, Joaquin will really bring more rain, right?
Right. We're going to see rain regardless, but Joaquin would add to that and also add a wind component, so it could make things worse.
Wow. Fingers crossed.
Well, I'm definitely concerned about this hurricane, but we will just have to see what happens, I guess.
Yes, we have to wait and see. Nothing is set in stone at this point. That's the important thing to remember.
Sounds good. Thanks, Drew.
All right, you're welcome.
And up next, the Heels head down to Atlanta this weekend, where they haven't won, well, since 1997.
Will they be able to wreck Tech?
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Kelly Glendenning with sports. After coming off the bench Saturday against Delaware, backup quarterback Mitch Trubisky had a record-breaking performance. But starter Marquise Williams says there's no tension between the two QBs.
A lot of people might think we hate each other, but, man, if you didn't see, I was running down the sidelines on Saturday. I mean, I could have been one of those guys just sitting back there like, man, this guy's about to, you know. But I'm one of those guys who's always about other teammates. I've never been a guy that's all about myself. And, you know, I texted him that as soon as I finished and I got home, I texted him. I said, you did a great job today. You seized that opportunity. And, you know, that's what it is.
The Heels are playing Georgia Tech on Saturday, and this game is huge. Carolina is looking for its first ACC win, while the Yellow Jackets are trying to save their season after losing to both Notre Dame and Duke. Both the Fighting Irish and Blue Devils had a success running the ball against Georgia Tech, scoring 3 rushing touchdowns each. The Tar Heels need to utilize star running back Elijah Hood on Saturday, especially in the red zone. Georgia Tech's triple option offense has been inconsistent this season. In the games the Jackets have won, they averaged more than 450 yards on the ground. And the ones they've lost, they've averaged only 200 rushing yards. Carolina's front seven needs to fight off their blockers to stifle the run. Ramses isn't making the trip down to Atlanta this weekend, so what does he do when he's not pumping up fans? Haley Ray visited Hogan's Magnolia View Farm to get an inside look at this local celebrity's day-to-day life.
There you go. There you go. Oh, Lord.
Don Bassnight, Ramsey's caretaker, said the ram leads a charmed life on the farm. He spends most of his time eating and frolicking with his goat and cow friends.
He doesn't have a lot of responsibilities. He lives in a pasture with other animals, and he grazes on grasses and brush, sleeps a lot.
Game days are a little more hectic. A whole team gets Ramses ready early in the morning and heads to campus. Carolina blue horns and a homemade Tar Heel blanket make up his signature wardrobe.
When we would go to the Kenan Stadium, if you were a kid and you could touch the ram, you could get in free.
Being the official Tar Heel mascot isn't all glamour and photo ops. Rivalries have led to multiple kidnappings of Ramses, even one by ECU.
The story was he lived in a frat house for a week eating pizza and beer. That just sounds fun to me. I'm not sure it's true. They did paint him purple. Duke's stolen him a few times, and I'm sure NC State would claim a theft or two.
Current research may also pose a problem for the ram.
I find it interesting that a scientist at NC State discovered the gene that produces the Dorset without horns. So he's putting our mascot at threat. And wouldn't you know it'd be a wolf pack, right?
But for now, Carolina fans will continue cheering on the football team with the iconic Ramses. And he couldn't be happier. In Chapel Hill, I'm Haley Ray reporting.
I wonder what that huge smile was all about.
I mean, I think it's because we beat Delaware last weekend, clearly.
Yeah, did you see the chompers on that guy? He must have a great dentist. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
Coming up next, this 12-year-old boy didn't need a genie to grant his wish.
How 2 UNC classes made his dreams come true.
UNC students raised thousands of dollars for a young boy in need. Drew Kurzman says it's a good example of what happens when education and community involvement intersect.
Oh, the Bills got me -3 points.
Meet young Aiden Walters. He loves Batman and tracking his fantasy football league.
I don't like to lose.
You don't like to lose?
At all.
A tough fantasy football roster isn't the only opposition Aiden faces. He has cystic fibrosis, a genetic disorder of the lungs. Like the offensive line he watches on TV, Aiden faces his obstacles head on.
Well, I look at other people with the same disease that are not so great off and realize how good I am off, so I just keep doing the same thing so I can stay that way.
Make-A-Wish teamed with UNC faculty to help raise money for Aiden's cause. UNC professor Chris Mumford broke his class into teams and had them compete to raise money for Aiden.
I think the most important part of this Flash startup was trying to mix passion, purpose, and profit. If you get those three combinations, you're living the dream.
And Mumford wasn't the only one. UNC professor Jim Kitchen set his entrepreneurship class on the same assignment, and the results speak for themselves. One group, led by UNC senior Casey Harris, raised more than $6,000 in just more than a week. And she believes the exercise is great for families like Aiden's.
The project became more about getting it done for them rather than, just getting a good grade or doing well at the project.
But they did do well, and Aiden's family is grateful for the help.
I think it's fantastic that people are willing to give and take on things that, they don't know Aiden, but they were willing to support him and the cause.
It would be hard to top that type of learning experience. In Hillsborough, I'm Drew Kurzman reporting.
Wow, that's so special. And to think that from glow sticks and selling lemonade and just selling things that you wouldn't think that cost a lot of money, they raised $35,000. That's so special.
Yeah, and I'm so glad the community could rally around this cause, because that is a cute little boy, and I'm so glad his dreams were able to come true.
Yeah, he deserves it. Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. Have a great night.